Hi everyone, my name is Irene Islam, and today I want to share with you my story of how I met Jesus as a Muslim. So, 11 years ago, I was living in Barcelona and I was searching for answers to some of life's biggest questions. And what followed was a journey that I never expected, and one that completely changed the course of my life. So, this is my testimony. So, I was born and raised in Barcelona, Spain, but my family is originally from Bangladesh, which is a predominantly Muslim country. And I was raised with strong Muslim foundations. So, since the age of 7, I learned how to read the Quran, memorizing surahs, how to pray five times a day, and also how to practice Ramadan. The basic Muslim values and practices. So, despite the fact of being born and raised in a Western country, my parents ensured that my upbringing was very centered towards their culture and their religion. So, in that context, I had a firm belief in Allah. And actually, I had as a teenager, I had my own plans to wear the hijab and, to be devoted to Allah once I reached my age for marriage. So that was my personal point of view and my personal choice, right? So that's how I was brought, and that's how I thought as a child and as a teenager. So when I was 19 years old, I started to realize many things in life, and I started to see how Allah was blessing my family so much, with so much abundance. And I realized I had good parents, I had a good life. So, in the midst of all that happiness and all that abundance, I started to see that the hand of Allah was in my life, right? But I also started to feel a void inside of me that I couldn't explain. I started to ask and question myself, I can't be just happy? Why do I feel this void inside of me that I can't ignore it, right? So somehow I came to the conclusion that getting closer to Allah will fill this void inside of me. So for the first time, I approached Allah with all my heart, like very sincerely. And I told him, Allah, I want to know you, and I want to know who I am as well. And I need you to fill this void that I feel inside of me. And I feel like this void cannot be filled with anything in this life. Um, and I feel like only you can fill this void, right? So I told him, I will seek you with all my heart, and I will speak to you in Spanish, because I'm not going to speak to you in Arabic and just reciting, like, saying surahs that I don't fully understand. I want to be able to express myself fully to you sincerely with all my heart, in a language that I feel comfortable with. So I remember that I started to pray in Spanish, and I started to read the Quran in Spanish as well, to search for answers. So 3 months went by, and I was searching for Allah day and night, with all my heart, with all my strength. And I remember that I told Allah that I don't see the point in this life. And I realized at that age that people are born in this world. They grow. We are expected to study hard, then set our own business, or get a job, work very hard, and then have many accomplishments in life, get married, have your own family, and then keep maybe building riches. and status and prestige in this life, and then one day you just die, you know? It just it didn't make sense in my head, in my heart. Like, I started to notice all these things around me, and I started to question and ask myself and ask God, ask Allah, there has to be something more, because I don't really understand the point in this life if we are just meant to do all these things and then just die and that's it. So, also during that phase, one day by accident, I was just in front of my mirror in my bathroom, and I started to look at myself in the eyes, like very like staring in my own eyes, and I started to question, if my parents had me in their own country, if they decided to give me birth in their own country, and I would be raised in that kind of environment and that kind of culture, I wouldn't even speak Spanish. Or, I would be a completely different person if they would have decided that. And I started to see myself in the mirror, and I started to see that my appearance was changing, as the years went by. And I started to question, okay, my appearance will just change more and more, because that's life. That's the physical reality that we live in. So I started to question, if anything is bound to change, if I would be a completely different person if I would have been born in my parents' country, then who am I really? There has to be something. I started to question, like, there has to be something that doesn't change in me, that is not bound to the culture around me, that is not bound to the language or anything, or the decisions of my parents. So I started to see myself in my eyes, and I felt that there was something eternal in me, but I couldn't just explain it yet. So I kept searching for Allah, and I kept presenting these questions in my heart to Him. For 3 months, I was just searching for Him day and night, reading the Quran, and just speaking to Him with all my heart, right? And after 3 months of intense seeking, I told Allah, you're not responding to me. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anyone is listening to me. And I need to find the truth. I need to find the one who is truth. I need to find the God of all truth, the God who created me, the God who created, the stars, the universe, the galaxies, the God who created me and who put that void inside of me. Because I know that only that God who created me can fill this void inside of me. So I remember telling Allah, if I am making a mistake, please forgive me. But I am going after the true God. I don't know what's His name. I don't know, Allah, if you are the true God, the God that my parents taught me since I was a child. If you are the true God, if your ways are the truth, then I will come back to you and I will serve you with all my heart. And please, if I am making a mistake of going after God in other ways, please forgive me and make me come back. Make me come back to you, Allah, and to your ways. And from that day on, I told God, like, God, if you're not Allah, I don't know what's your name, but I'm going after you. I'm searching for you, because only you created me, and only you created this void inside of me that I cannot explain. And I know that only you can fill this void, and but I don't know where to find you. I don't know what's your name. I don't know if you're in which religion you are, and I don't know if you are in fact in any of the religions. But I am going to find you. I'm going to search for you with all my heart. So that day, I remember like taking the glasses of Islam, right? The glasses that I was born with, the glasses of how I viewed my life and the reality around me. I took out those glasses and I put them on the table, right? Like it's a metaphor, metaphorically speaking, and I had Islam from that moment on as an option, and I was going after truth. And I told myself, if after all my seeking and searching, if I find that if Allah and Islam is the truth, I will give my life 100% to this truth. I will wear the hijab. I will do everything that Islam tells me to do. But I am going after the truth. So from that point on, I opened up myself for the first time in my life. I had the courage to set aside my values, the values that I was brought up with, and started to search for God in other religions. So I started to search, searching through the internet about Hinduism, Buddhism, pantheism, numerology, and some of the branches of occult as well. So in all that searching, I started to practice meditation, because in one of my searching, one of my research, sorry, I realized that the more I meditate, the more I align my chakras, and then there is a concept where you connect your conscious with the universal conscience, which is meant to be God, right? So I told myself, if I meditate day and night, I can, align all my chakras, and then I can know God. That was my only goal, to know God. And if these practices are telling me to do this, then I'll do it. So I started meditating day and night. I think not only day and night, day, afternoon, and night, whenever I could. My life was just only based on going to uni, working, and then searching for God, and researching. That was my life. Like I remember that I stopped having like social life. I stopped many things. Like my only goal, my only mission became to know God, to find God. That was the only thing that I wanted to find. So I started to meditate day and night, and that process of meditation and researching lasts for a year. And along that process, I started to gain powers without searching for them, without knowing. So I started to see the aura in people, the electromagnetic field around people. I started to see the colors of the aura in people. And to be honest with you, that was fascinating for me. For the first time, I was having experience, a real encounter with the supernatural realm, with the spiritual realm, right? And I told myself, wow, this is amazing. God has to be here. Like, we are in the right path. Just let's keep going, because God has to be here. So I remember that I started to have these weird powers of, having premonitions, having this, powers of knowing what will happen to people. I started to feel spirits around me. And then in the night, I would feel like this was whispers in my ear. I could feel things moving around me that were spirits. The doors and the windows would close by themselves. And to be honest with you, that part was scary, because I couldn't understand why all these bad spirits are coming to me if I'm searching for God, you know? So back then, I didn't understand that I was opening doors to the kingdom of darkness. So, anyways, I kept going on, and I researched many spiritual leaders, Buddha, one of them. And in that research, I remember one of my colleagues at uni, one of my classmates, sorry, in uni told me one day, "Oh, Irene, you're researching about religions. Have you researched about Jesus?" And I was like, "Jesus." I was like, "No, I'm not interested." So, and he said, "Well, I think you should research about him, because did you know that he was a Jew?" And back then I was like 19 years old. I didn't know anything about Jesus, and the only thing I knew was the history that I was taught in school, the art history that I studied in school as well. And to be honest with you, the idea of Jesus wasn't very attractive to me. And also because I had my own beliefs about Jesus from Islam, that he was a prophet. And then, well, I said, okay, let's just research about him, right? So I started researching about him. And to be honest with you, it was fascinating to see that someone would say, um, if, if your enemy, just love your enemies, right? If someone gives you or hurts you, just give them the other cheek. So those words were like, well, I haven't heard anyone saying this kind of words, but my conclusion back then was, okay, Jesus was a enlightened, right, enlightened one like Buddha. And that's it. That was the conclusion of my research. I also researched about numerology, and all that year that I was researching many, occult things, numerology, and everything, many pieces of my research were always pointing towards Jesus, and I just couldn't understand why. I remember one day I went to a tarot card reader, right? And I remember that after our session, she said to me, "You should buy a Bible and read Genesis." And I just couldn't make sense of why that lady would tell me to buy a Bible. So I did that. I bought a Bible, read Genesis. It was interesting, but I couldn't find anything. So during my research, also I remember I did this numerology counting calculation with my date of birth, and it pointed towards Christ. It's Yeah, the meaning was something about following Christ, right? So, and I remember one day I was in a library, and I picked a book that was very spiritual, right? And it was a very weird book, but that book was mentioning Jesus as well, but in a very twisted way. So even the occult, even the things that are not of God, were pointing me towards Jesus, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, in my research, Jesus kept coming up in here and there, right? So I remember that after a year of deep searching, I told God, "I don't know, where are you? I don't know how to find you. I don't know if you are in a religion. And in fact, I don't know if you have a name. Maybe you are just energy, and that's it. But whoever you are, I'm not able to find you. But I need to find you, because you can only tell me, why am I on this earth? Why did you create me? You know? So I remember this, I think I went into a depressive state where, yeah, my life just was based on searching for God, and I isolated myself from family, from friends, because I felt like nobody understood the weight of my searching, right? So after a year, I told that to God, and I started to fight with thoughts. A voice one day started to tell me, in my deep sorrow, I was just crying out to God, like, I don't know what's the point in this life. So on that state, one voice in my head said, just take those pills and you can just go. You know, your soul can go to God. If you understand what I'm saying, because I don't want my video to be banned. So basically, just ending this phase and going up there, right? And there is a concept in occult where you do astral projections with a series of exercises. You 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 separate your soul from your body, and then you can go into the astral realm and you can explore, right? And I remember one day I was trying that, and I did some, yeah, I saw some things, so I knew that that was a avenue. So I started to wrestle with that thought, because that thought was basically telling me to end everything here and then just go up there, and then I would meet God. So I was in a very dark state when I had these thoughts, right? But in that dark phase, a voice very clearly said in my head, seek Jesus, because he's the only one who can give you peace. And when that voice came into my head, it was so clear, and it was just a peaceful voice. And I thought to myself, I am not searching for peace. Like, what does peace have to do with everything? You know, with anything that I'm doing? I'm not searching for peace. And I said to myself, again, Jesus? Like, what's again? Wait, why Jesus again? So I knew that that voice didn't come from my own, understanding. It wasn't my voice. So I said to myself, okay, even if it's the last thing that I do, tomorrow morning I will watch a movie about Jesus. So the next morning came, and I started to watch the movie Passion of Christ, which was a movie that I already watched 2 times, because I did a dissertation, because it was like a project in uni around ethics in communication, right? So that was the 3rd time that I was about to watch the movie. So I played the movie in original, like, Aramaic language, and with subtitles in Spanish. And when I started to watch that movie, suddenly the voice, the words of Jesus came alive. It was like just piercing into my heart. And suddenly something fell off my eyes. And I can't explain that, but I felt that something came off of my eyes. And then I started to see the truth. I started to see that Jesus is God. And then that he decided to come in a human form to die for me. I started to see that Jesus is the Son of God, and that he is such a humble God, not the God that I was taught in Islam, who is a distant and magnificent God up there. Actually, God came in the flesh to be like me and to die for me. And when I heard those words where Jesus was saying, Father, forgive them because they do not know what they do, I was just crying, because I felt like Jesus was pointing to me. Like I was those Pharisees. I was torturing Jesus. I was the one responsible as well for Jesus' death, and he was giving his life for me. And I just started to cry. And suddenly everything became clear. I knew that he was God. So in all that, in the midst of everything that I was receiving, all those revelations that I was receiving, a holy, 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 infinitely holy presence came into my room. So I was sitting on my desk watching the movie, right? And when that holy presence came into my room, my whole body asked me to kneel down. Like I couldn't hold myself together, and I just knelt down into his presence. And then he started to talk to me in my spirit. It was a presence that it was in the spirit. I couldn't see anything with my eyes, but it was even more real than what I could see with my eyes. And that presence started to talk to me, and he said, I am the one who you're searching for. I am the truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And no one goes to the Father except through me. I am the Son of God. I am the one who you're searching for. And I remember that I was just, my spirit was, yes, I found the truth. Jesus is the truth. I found the truth. My spirit was so rejoicing in that truth. But suddenly my mind was in wrestle. Like my mind was telling me, really? Like with everything that it could be, Jesus is the truth. Jesus, like, really? Like my mind was wrestling with all the concepts that I had in Islam about Jesus, of being a prophet, or all the concepts that I learned through the history that I learned about Christianity in school, right? Or the pictures that I saw, the paintings that I saw of Jesus crucified. I always thought that a man cannot be a god, right? Like it doesn't make sense. And that kind of God needs more of help than myself. So my mind was wrestling with that thought. My mind was astonished and was struggling to accept that truth, but my spirit was rejoicing. So in the midst of all this, I remember that I started to feel so filthy. And I just wanted to hide, because suddenly I felt so filthy in front of that presence, that holy presence. And in my mind, my mind was wrestling. My mind was telling me, I haven't done anything that bad to feel like this way. And then suddenly my spirit started to remember everything, every little and big thing that I did wrong, that from the human perspective, it wasn't that bad. But in front of that holiness, it was just exposed. Everything about me was exposed. The good, the bad, the very bad, it was just there. Like I couldn't hide anything from that presence, from that holy presence. So I feeling very filthy and not worthy at all to be in his presence. And I remember that his presence was so holy that I started to feel like I was about to cease to exist, if that makes sense. Like it was his power was so holy that I felt like I could just be gone. So Jesus started to read my thoughts, read the thoughts that I was having in my heart, and he told me that it's okay. I forgive you and I accept you as my daughter. And that concept, when I heard daughter in my spirit, that concept was completely alien to me. Because from what I understood and from the teachings of Islam, God is God. God is almighty God in heaven. He doesn't even have a human form. he doesn't have children and he doesn't need to have children. And the fact that Jesus accepted me as his daughter told me that it made me feel that I was part of his family now. So I remember that I was just crying in front of him, and I felt like another thing that I realized in front of that presence, in front of Jesus, is that I realized now the why of and the meaning of my life. I came to understand that he is love, that God is love, and that God, in the form of Jesus, came to this world to show his love. And I started to understand that I came from that love, and that one day I will go back to that love. And I started to realize that the love that we experience as humans in this life is nothing compared to his love, but is also a product of the love that he is. That I understood that everything good in this life comes from that love, from God, because God is love. So I just, in my human perspective, chronologically, I think it was like 4 hours that I was just soaking in his presence. I was soaking and weeping in his presence. Many things changed in me instantly in that encounter with Jesus. And he started to reveal to me many things, many truths that later I found in the Bible, right? So after those 4 hours, I just went to YouTube and I typed how to be a Christian. Because back then, I was born and raised in Spain, but I didn't know anyone who was Christian. Nobody told me about Jesus. So I didn't have an idea of how to become a Christian, right? So I remember I went to YouTube and I just did many prayers of salvation, and I gave my life to Jesus. And I remember that I was so happy. I was so happy because I was like, wow, I found the truth. I've now finally found the truth. And I remember that day I told Jesus, okay, this is gonna be our secret. So nobody has to know that I am now a Christian, that I believe in you. So this is gonna be a secret between you and me. I was completely ignorant of everything, right? So now I am here 11 years later, publicly declaring that Jesus is Lord and Savior, that he is the way, the truth, and the life, right? And that anyone who believes in him has to believe in him publicly as well, declare their faith publicly, because he says in his word that whoever denies me in front of people, I will deny him in front of my Father. So that's a truth that he revealed to me eventually. And yeah, all these 11 years he has been faithful, and now I feel like he's raising people to come boldly and declare boldly his truth, that he is the way, the truth, and the life, that he is not any religion, and that he's not in a man-made boxed religion. You don't have to do anything to be with him. It's just, you just have to open your heart, search for the truth, seek the truth, open your heart, and he will reveal himself to you if you're really, really willing to find the truth. He will reveal himself to you. No one has to convince you. No one has to force you. No one has to, to tell you anything. If you're really willing to find the truth, you will find the truth. And the truth is Jesus Christ. So I hope this testimony has been a blessing to you. Please share it with someone that you think that might need to hear this. And again, thank you so much. And I will see you in the next one. Shalom.